I am woman. I am strong woman. Slow, but I am strong. Okay.
Thomasina.
Woohoo!
She gave my whole bio. But that was back in the day. I want to get comfortable here.
Do it.
But I want to know where the camera's at.
Right there. There you go.
How's that?
Perfect.
Is that good? All right, thank you. Dr. Anna. Okay. I know you were talking exactly to me. I know this. And the reason I know this is because I was holding my breath when you talked about breathing. And I do it all the time. All the time. So I'm guilty. Okay, but my mom, let me tell you what my mom does. I know you don't want to hear about her, but since your mom's here, I thought I would tell a mom story.
Please, please.
And I love my mom very much, but she does smoke, like 100,000 packs a day, I think. And she's had surgery on her throat, she has diabetes, and I love her very much, but she says, and she talks real raspy, she goes, we talked to her about smoking. Mom, you should quit, you should quit. She goes, I've been smoking all my life, but I can still praise the Lord. That's my mom. She does that. I love her. Okay. I was asked to give my testimony today, and so bear with me as I get through this. I will get through it without crying today. Okay, ladies? And gentlemen? All right.
So will we?
You will. You'll be like, girl, that's so boring. Okay, so 3 weeks after I graduated high school, I joined the military, and I grew up with severe testing anxiety to the point where if I knew I had to take tests to get promoted, I probably wouldn't have joined the military. And never did I think that eventually I would become a Chief Master Sergeant, which is, I think a lot of you here are military or had been brought up around the military. Never did I think I would become a Chief Master Sergeant, which I just feel blessed and honored, and God was looking over me from day one, and I'm very thankful for that. But it's had its journeys. It's had some of the best times, some of the worst times, but where it's led me today is my journey to everlasting life, and that's where I'm at right now, and I praise God for that every day. So I already know the answer to this, but how many veterans? Quite a few. How many people that know someone that's in the military, right? Or works at Glenn, or it's in my opinion, my husband and I both in the military. We had 55 years active duty combined together, and the hardest part for me in my eyes would be for those that are staying home while their spouse or their best friend or their girlfriend or their boyfriend is deployed. So for me, that has been always the hardest part for being in the military. But have anybody ever watched on TV or been at the airport where you see a family reunion of someone that's been deployed and that person is in uniform and they run to their family and they grab them and they haven't seen their child and they're having that first moment with their child. Those are things that I cannot get out of my head. I watched them over and over again. My husband and I, our first 5 years of marriage, we didn't have a birthday together, an anniversary, and on and on. He made me leave Hawaii to go to Nebraska, and then he deploys all the time. And he deployed in the winter, so he never knew the 2 times I fell that made me have two of the reasons I had to have knee replacement. So he never saw that, but I always remembered that I couldn't wait till that homecoming. I couldn't wait till our honeymoon started again. I couldn't wait until just to see him, to know that he was safe on homeland. And for me, my final deployment, I was Chief Master Sergeant, the highest rank that I could hold, that any enlisted person can hold. My final deployment, when I got off of that airplane, there was not one person for me at the airport. Not one. No one there to say, welcome home. No one there to put their arms around me and say, baby, I missed you. I don't need those. And the reason that nobody was there for me is because my husband was in rehab. And we're not at that place in our life anymore, but I need to look at my notes. Well, real quick. For me, in my life, that day when I was walking down there and I knew no one was there for me, it was probably the darkest and loneliest day in my life. So, if you know, on my first deployment back in the, I don't know, maybe the 1400s or something like that, I got one phone call a month. And otherwise we wrote letters. I know some of you probably haven't written a letter in 100 years, but we wrote letters. My last deployment, every day my wake-up call was my husband FaceTiming me. He was my alarm clock. And it was awesome, to see. You knew he was safe and sound, and you saw his face. And the last time that I FaceTimed him was for him telling me that he was going to rehab. And those are memories that I have. I don't ever want to forget them because I never want to have that feeling I did back then. But it still chokes me up. So let me back up a little bit. So, again, it was my last deployment, and I was serving at the highest position for me that I would ever hold in the military. By trade, I'm a human resource. Back in the day, as a personnel specialist, I was the director of personnel for the AOR. I was getting to travel through Afghanistan on helicopters. I'm like, hey, I'm so cool. I used to sit behind a desk, and here I am on helicopters, and I was getting to go check on airmen that were in dark places to make sure the Navy wasn't treating them bad. And I was on cloud nine, and it's exactly where I saw myself in the military. But it was cut short, and I go to work one day, and they're like, hey, we're going to send you home. You need to be there for your husband. And I'm like, what? I was mad. And in the beginning, let me take this back. In the beginning, when I first heard his voice, I knew he was broken. We were broken. And I was so supportive. I said, baby, just get what you need. I will be there. I'm going to support you. I'm going to support you. And I started keeping a journal from that day till the day I saw Chris again. And as that day, I was like, I'm going to be the most supportive wife that anyone has ever had. And then as every day went by, I kept getting peeved. I was madder and madder, and I was like, you've taken this deployment away from me. You've run this for me. How embarrassing. I hate that I thought that, but I went through this process. And I'm not mad anymore. I was shocked. I didn't want to come home because I was on cloud nine, but how selfish of me, because he needed me. He needed to be there. The Air Force knew before I knew that I needed to be there for my husband. And I still think of the homecoming, sadly. Sorry. So I had to make a decision. I came home. My husband still had 2 weeks left in rehab. So I made a decision that I went and grabbed the guys in my squadron together, because if you know anything about me, I don't like rumors. This is all, I don't like that, hey, did you hear, hey, did you hear, hey, did you hear? That's not me. So I made a decision to pull everybody together, and I was like, hey guys, I just want to let you know, this is why I'm home 4 months early, and explain the situation. And I'm so glad I did that, because when I remember walking in and I felt like I had a big bubble around me, and I was like, how am I going to tell the guys that look up to me, the guys that say, I'm the one that makes sure they're not out drinking and driving and making sure they're doing the right thing, and here in my own house it's happening. As soon as I walked through the doors, the airman was like, Chief, Chief, and that bubble busted, and they put their arms around me, and after I shared our story, they held on to me, and we laughed together, we cried together, they helped me to get through it, and I'm so blessed and thankful that the airmen were with me during this time. But I still had Chris in rehab, and I didn't get to talk to him much, I didn't get to see him much, and before he would get out of rehab, I had to go and sit with a counselor, and I'm like, why do I have to? This isn't my problem. You know, I went through all this denial and had walls built up, but I needed it, because when she told me I was an enabler, I was like, how dare you? How am I enabling him? I didn't even know about, long story short, I had come to realize I was an enabler, and I'm not anymore, and I thank God for that every day. So, here's the good part. While he was in rehab, he got saved.
All right.
So he got out of rehab, and it was awesome, and we started our new lives over, and so now it's like, well, we need to find a church. And we were over here at Starbucks, and a gentleman overheard us talking. He always said, well, which one are we going to find? Which one are we going to try today? And we tried one out in Destin, and he goes, hey, I think you guys should try Shoreline. And I was like, really? He was just like, you guys seem like you would fit there. And long story short, we started talking to him, and he ends up being a pastor. And so then festivity hit, and I was like, he's a pastor, he didn't invite us to his church. I was like, he's judging us. He sees the tattoos, he sees everything, and he's judging us. And so I was mad. I was wrong, because he knows Pastor Nathan and Crystal, and Nathan used to be his worship leader, and he knew that we would fit here. And in his words, not with the blue hairs at his church, that we weren't accepted here. And he was right. He was right. Shoreline is our home. So we walked in the doors here, and we're like, I think the first song that we heard here was a Beyonce song, and we're like, where are we? And are we in church? And so, long story short, it was a performance tune, and we knew this was our home. The second time we were here, Pastor Darlene said, hey, why aren't you guys serving on our survey? And we were like, they're asking us to serve? So we felt accepted here. Who cares what we look like, because our hearts love God. We love God. We're so beyond blessed. And we started greeting. Now I'm Pastor Nathan's assistant here. I also have new to the jewelry line. And we haven't looked back, basically. And today, I love my hubs more than anything, and I don't see him. He is crying. He's a baby. But anyways, I'm really happy.
There he is.
I didn't say that. Hey, David. So anyways, today I love him more than ever, and I just, our marriage is better than it has ever been. We put God first.
Amen.
I just got chills, and I'm so happy to tell you guys that next month he starts Bible college.
Woo!
Okay, I'm really happy about that. We work on it daily because it's not easy, and we are so blessed. And I love Joyce Meyer, and she always says this one saying, and it's hit me like 20 times this week, that we're not, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Y'all know we work on it daily, and we're so blessed because we're not where we used to be. And I pray we never go back there, and I pray that 10 years from now, I still have the same testimony, only it's stronger and stronger and stronger. And I would say, Pastor, that's my husband, Pastor Chris. So I just want to Thank you, Thomasina, for calling me up and saying, hey, can you do this in 45-minute notice? And I was like, okay. I don't have a resume. I have my military one. Oh, that'll be fun. 29 years of military of a resume. Thank you for not reading that. Jennifer, thank you for
I thought you were still active.
I retired in April. So thank you all so much, and I just feel so blessed to be here. So thank you.